It's not that every poll is a lie, but man, lots of them are. They're Democrat run, they're push polls designed to do certain things. So it's hard to make any sense of what you see. But one of the best out there, I've noticed this consistently. All the people I trust go to this guy. He's known as the People's Pundit. His name is Rich Baris, director of the Big Data Poll. All right, Rich, let's focus on polling here for a second, because I like knowing things I don't know. If you're some Democrat polling firm or some Democrat pays for it, how can you manipulate a poll? People don't even understand how these things are done. How can someone even do that?
I think, and I was listening to the intro. First of all, thanks for having me, Jesse. It's good to be here. But I think what is going on now is you really have two problems with polls. One is a methodology problem. Different people, different groups of people respond to different modes of collection, whether you're doing it by phone, online. And if you're doing it by phone, are you using IVR, calling landlines? Are you calling cells? Are you texting? They respond to these modes at different rates. And I think what we're really seeing now, which moves into part of an ethical problem, is that there's plenty of evidence that what they're doing is wrong, why it's wrong, why they create response biases and social biases. They just don't care. They just don't care. And I think that's because it favors their narrative.
Okay, expand on response biases. How do you do something like that?
This is perfect, actually. We're just coming out of the summer now. We just, moving into the Labor Day weekend. It is well known in this industry that in the summer and before Labor Day, it's a reason why that's really the threshold or the mark, that people move to likely voter models, even though we do them before. That's because people really aren't paying attention, especially more conservative and working class people. They're living their lives, Jesse. They're not sitting in front of the computer or the telephone, just dying to tell a pollster during a 20 to 25-minute interview over the phone, how they're going to vote and why. Everyone is different. I think that's part of it is what makes us liberals and conservatives. We have differences in our behavior, and everybody knows that there are response biases, meaning they don't want to participate, that favor Democrats because Democrats are more willing to take surveys in general. So now that we're moving past Labor Day, you're going to see these polls tighten. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. See, I'm learning. Okay. What do people care about? I know I'm in my own bubble, Rich. I sit down, I do this every single day. I follow who I want to follow on social media. I know I've created a bubble for myself and I have blinders on. What do people actually care about? I guarantee the list is different than my list.
Yeah, we all do, right? And part of a pollster's job, too, is to make sure that the bubble that you're living in is not influencing your work. So if you're a pollster at the New York Times, you live in a cubicle and you know nothing about the rest of the country, flyover country. Maybe even, if we're being honest, you resent them a little bit. So it's hard for you to discern what they care about. And the modern, the narrative right now, the current narrative, is that abortion is really thrown a wrench in Republicans, plans here. And that's not really what we found. Abortion right now is tied for number 3, right 9%, along with immigration and border security. Half of the country, Jesse, really tells us that their vote is based on economic issues. Cost of living and inflation, that's number 1, a little over 30%. In the last poll we just did, came out a couple of days ago. Number 2 was jobs in the economy, just about a little under 20%. So number 3 and 4 are kind of distant. This is an economic election. It is.
Okay, it's when we say that's what voters care about. It's one thing for me to care about something. It's another thing for me to assign blame to this guy or think this guy has some sort of solution. Are they there yet, or am I way too inside baseball and they're just mad they're paying too much for chicken and gas?
No, I think when it comes to inflation, and it's interesting over the last year when people really started to tell us about inflation, food and groceries, we just got out of the summer and everyone was talking about gas prices, but food and groceries was number 1 long before gas prices started to rise. People were complaining about that. And it's been about a year since we started asking people, well, who do you trust more to handle it, or just crossing, your most important issue with your vote? And out of the top 4 issues, if I include abortion in there with immigration, out of the top 4 issues, Republicans have an advantage on 3 out of the 4. So economy and inflation issues, they trust Republicans more, and they will vote if that's their number one issue. They will vote Republican. Immigration, not even close. They trust Republicans. On abortion, Democrats have the edge. So out of the top 3 or 4, they have assigned blame, and they're ready to render a judgment on that.
Don't miss Jesse Kelly Breaks History, Che Guevara, the latest episode of a new series available now exclusively for First TV supporters. Visit the First TV app or thefirsttv.com to subscribe and start watching today.